It is Monday, April 5th, 2021, and I'm going to do my recap. Small winning day. I voted not disaster, but I voted a red day. I started green. I went into the red, and then I had a couple of good trades at the end and got myself back in the green. So I'm up 470 bucks. Not good, small winning day. But I have to be thankful. I was gonna be down 1,400, and GME appeared. I was able to make that money back, and then I took a small trade on Riot where I had lost money, and I got myself up. Pardon me, I'm exhausted. I got myself up to 470. So yeah, this is my eighth day in a row that I'm green. So that's good. As you can see here, there's 6 days, 7 and 8. So 8 days straight in a row. I'm 2 days, 3 days away from beating my max, which was 10 days in a row green. But I'm not looking to beat that. I'm just looking to go ahead and trade as good as I can. So let's just look at the trades. I did some things good, some things wrong. Start with the things that I did somewhat right and somewhat wrong. So Tesla was my first trade of the day. I went short right at the open, 4 seconds into the open. I knew it was a dangerous trade, but this is a really good setup that I like a lot. It's above R5, to R5 support or whatever. So I like to go short. Why did I want to go short? Well, the pre-market. I mean Tesla apparently on news like sold more than double or delivered more than double of the cars that they expected. So it was gapping up around like 7% pre-market, but the pre-market just didn't seem too strong to me. And this stock being above R5, I just thought that it would be a good opportunity for me to go for a short. And as soon as it opened, just a level two before opening and so on just didn't seem too strong. And when it opened, I'm like, this is a really good setup. So I went short. Pardon me, I went short 200 shares at 707 for a stop over the daily open. So I went short at 707, and unfortunately, I just covered too quick. I covered at 704, basically, and I made like $600. So I got like 3 points there. But yeah, too soon, man. I could have covered here. And I could have taken small partials. That's what I should have done. But I just saw that R5 was like so far away and stuff. I'm like, look, let me just take some money, and it's a good way to start the week. But yeah, not the best way, honestly. Yeah, covered around here in this candle, and because I had this big drop and I wanted to take the partial, but I couldn't, so I covered at 704. I should have taken like small, shares, like 50 shares, 75 shares maybe. I should have let the rest go. And over here, I went long. I took that trade a little bit later. Where did I take that trade? That was a mistake, because yeah. So I went long here. I went long at 703.35. Then in Tesla, so 930, 939. So you're right above. Yeah, so right in this candle here. Yeah, I don't know why I went long here. Honestly, there's no good excuse for me to. I saw this, maybe this candle, and then this one, and then this was a little bit engulfing, and this one, it got rejected here. This is like a shooting star, so there's no real reason for me to have gone long. And I did lose 2 points and change, so that was a bad trade. There was no foundation. The setup was R5. You see, I did get to R5. Imagine I would have just imagine I would have just let the trade since the beginning. That would have been over $2,000. 707. That would have been $2,400 if I would have followed my setup, and I could have added and so on. There was good opportunity to add and to go short again. But once I touched it and I messed it up, on the long side I just didn't want to touch it anymore. So yeah, and I have to wait a second. So that was my trade, and those are my two trades in Tesla. My other trade, I went into PLTR, and this was a good setup, but it just didn't work out well. And I misjudged. I mismanaged. I did mismanage the exit. I did do that. That was a mistake of how I mismanaged because I was about to take a little bit of profit, so I had to exit the order since order. And as soon as I did that, it spiked up, and I got out a little bit. It wasn't terribly late, but I wanted to have gotten out earlier, So I was looking for an R4 resistance combined with a daily open, because it came down. Okay, and you see this ring candle, and it almost was engulfing. And if it would have been an engulfing candle, I would have maybe gone long or whatever. But I saw the shooting star, so I'm like, okay, great setup. So I went short 20. I went short 3,000 shares, 4,000 shares. I went short or three. One, two, three, 4,000 shares. I went short. Yeah, I don't know. Do I still have 1,000 shares in PLTR? No, it's closed P&L. One, two, three. Oh no, it's 3,000 shares. Okay, yeah. So I went short 3,000 shares. Um, yeah, it's one, two, three, and then I covered at 23.6. So there was a chance where I could have made some money here. I really want to see this crack, but if it didn't crack, I was expecting it to reverse and come up. This is a strong level of resistance R4, but hey, it didn't work out this trade. And you see, I got out a little bit late. I should have gotten out at the break even, which was 74. That should have been my exit. And instead, I had to give like 300 bucks change back, and that didn't make any sense. But that is just due to that I had to cancel the order since order just because it was a stop loss. I had to cancel it just because I wanted to take 1,000 shares off around here before the breakdown because I could see a little bit of support. So I just wanted to take off a little bit so I could profit, and if I didn't lose all the money that I had in, because it was like 600 bucks and so. 74 down to the 50s, that's 20 cents. That was like 600 bucks. So yeah, and then it ripped up, and I didn't have time to get in or anything. Maybe it would have been a good setup R4 to R5. That would have been a good. Maybe that would have been good, but I didn't take it. I wasn't too confident in PLTR, so I lost a little bit of money there. And as you can see, I did a Tesla trade, and I lost money there, and then I did NIO. So in this one, I rushed too. Honestly, it wasn't my best performance. I really rushed. I rushed trading today. So what did I do? I went short NIO at 40.16 at 9:40. I really rushed it. I went short here, and maybe for looking for a bounce off of R3. It seemed like there was a little bit of weakness in this candle, so I'm like, okay, let me go short. But I knew I was rushing things. I really knew. So I went short 1,600 shares, and I covered 600 shares at 40.02. Um, So yeah, no, I won 600 and I let the whole thing play out. So I was down quite considerably here. Nothing crazy, but I was down already. I'm like, oh my god, dude, like I'm really letting this thing go. And but I knew like, hey, here's the daily open. Let's just see how it reacts to the daily open. Maybe it really does fail. So let's just give it a time. Let's give it a chance to work in our favor. So I let the whole thing play out, and then at 9:57, when it finally breaks down, I covered 600 shares right at the lows. So that's right over here. I traded GME. We'll take a look at that. But then I covered 39.78. So that was right around here. I covered 1,000 shares more, and so I guess I added. Yeah, exactly. So I got out at 39.78. So around here when it bounced off of the previous day close. And then what did I do in Neo? I shorted another 2,000 shares at 39.70, 39.69 at 10.11. And this was a good setup here. I really wanted to see this. And it did break down, and then my target was R1, L1. Sorry, that was my target, but we didn't see the follow through, so I exited at break even. I went short, exited at break even. And then I went long Neo because I saw it held, and then I fucked up because it was a good trade. I went long 2,000 shares. Tesla was starting to reverse. This is at 10.17, and that's when I'm starting to get sloppy, not starting to do well. And it just pulls back a little bit, and I lose. And I gave back like 200 bucks profit. And exactly when this thing, it got all the way up here, which would have been a good trade. That's exactly what I was expecting, So yeah, at that point, I think I was up like 70, 80 bucks. So not too well, man. And then I mean, in the meantime, I traded GME. So what did I trade GME? And I made a couple of mistakes here. I finally nailed this one, but I recognize that this, yeah, at the time wasn't my best trading. So I went short the first time 300 shares on 176.53. So it came below L5, inverse of at the inverse of what Tesla was. Tesla was above R5, this one is below L5. So it gets to L5, has a little bit of resistance. So once it comes down R5, I try to go short at 176.53, so right around here. And I know that there's a big level of support here because it's the pre-market kind of like highs, right? I mean, there is a little bit of, not the highs, but there's a lot of support here. So I'm like, look, if it doesn't really get past that, I'm going to be out. So I took 150 shares, 165.45. I made a little bit of money, and then I exited the rest at break even. Because if it's not going to give me anything, it's not going to give me anything. But then your boys are a little bit dumb, and I'm like, you know what? Let me go again. Let me go in again. Why not? Let's try to. It didn't work. Maybe it's going to work again. So I went short 173.69 at 10.18 right over here, and it was such a bad trade because the 9 EMA just was looking as if it wanted to come up, So I went short in this candle. It was above the 9 EMA, which just didn't make sense on the 5-minute chart or on the 1-minute chart. And I went short and I lost $600 there. I got the whole 2 points. And I'm like, oh my god, Marco, you're a dumb dude. What the fuck are you doing? And then I was like down like $400 at that point. And to make things worse, I go and I short heavy into Riot, and instead of having the 50-cent stop loss, I had the 2-point stop loss. So I gave a point in this trade, which was also nonsensical. It's kind of like I always make the same mistakes with the same setups. When the stock is gapping up or gapping down, and it's kind of like consolidating, and it may be showing some resistance, and but I'm not willing. It's consolidating to the upside. It's looking good on the 5-minute 9 EMA, and so on. So the first time I went short, it was here, 10.21. So in this candle, there's nothing that says here that is, the setup is in R3. R3 is the setup where you go short, not R2. It can be R2, but you don't want, and not even that. I didn't go short at the resistance. I went short for the break of R1 with a lot of pre-market support. I knew that trade was not going to go well, and that's exactly what happened. I went in short at 52.56. I got stopped out 53.41. So I lost there pretty much $400 more than what I should have. So that wasn't great. That wasn't a great showing. And at that time, I was down like 1,400. I'm like, oh man, dude, you gotta be kidding me. And I was about to. I already copied my trades, and I was gonna put them in TraderView, but then GME came, and obviously I lost money around here the second time, so I was around here. But then I saw this setup. It was looking like a really, making higher lows and consolidating, and I went short. I went long 400 shares, so a little bit bigger than what I usually go. Then when I went the whole day in GME, I went long 400 shares at 178.78. So right before this breakout, it just seemed like I wanted to break out. It was consolidating on the level 2. On the 5-minute, it looked really good. And yeah, I got the pop and I sold all over here. As you can see, sold. I could have let it go all the way up to L4. That would have been the smart thing. That would have been the professional thing that I should have done. But again, I was down 1,400, and this trade got me up to $11. So I'm like, dude, fuck, thank goodness, dude. From losing 1,400 and almost closing the day, I risked it and I got the reward, and I was able to profit here. So that was good. And then, I could have gotten another trade in here. I was looking for this consolidation. That would have been a good trade, but at that point, I was like, I want to be done for today. And then this is another great setup where it gets all the way to R3, and then it comes down. That is a really, really, really good setup. I mean, now that the market is not showing that much movement, I do maybe feel like I have to hang out a little bit more. Even though trades are starting to be again slower and they're taking more time and there's not that much momentum, there's still opportunity, and I think like I do have to hang out a little bit more, man, because yeah, I mean, I hung out, I had breakfast, I should have hung out more, man, and traded more. I missed a good opportunity in NIO. that I took here, but it wasn't just the right time. And yeah, so I was up $11, and then I took the last trade in the Riot, which is the setup that makes sense. It is a setup that works. It's the R3 reversal when it's coming from down below or whatever. It comes from the L's or it comes from the R's. It gets to R3 and it may find some resistance. So I went short Riot, and I went short at 53.36. So this was a good setup. I went at 10.33. So right over here, 10.33. And I want to see R1, but again, the stock was strong, right? It was strong, and I wanted to see at least on the 9 EMA, and that's what I got. I got this pullback to the 9 EMA, and I got out at 52.85, 52.91, and 52.98, and I was up $470. And I'm like, you know what? That's good. I'm done for the day, but I wasn't, because I wanted to trade NIO again. And it was a good setup too on the 5 minute. It was a good setup all around. I went short 3,000 shares. See, I'm loading up more, which I'm happy about. 938. So 1038. Sorry. So around yeah, here. Yeah, I wanted to see the break of R1 and all the way to the previous day close, but it was chopping around, and I got out, and that's it. But look, it was a good setup. It got all the way to the previous day close, and throughout the day, it got all the way down to L3. So that is the setup that I was looking for. And on the 5 minute, it looked really good. So, yeah, that was a really good setup that I didn't take. So, what can I say? It's been a little bit of a rough day. My last few days. Let's go to 2021. Let's see the last week and this week. Okay, since the last week, I'm up $5,000. Okay, so that's not bad. It's $1,000 per day still, right? Okay, because these 3 days I had $1,000 gains, and these 2 days small ones. I mean, this day I just was able to trade 13 minutes, 15 minutes because I had stuff to do, and today was just a little bit rough. So I mean, I'm still happy with this. Profit factor is still good, although today and yesterday and today was not so good. So that's why it's going a little bit down. But man, what can I say, dude? I'm on an 8 day winning streak. Right, the 24th was the last day. The 23rd was the last day that I lost money. So in this stretch, I'm up 6,689. It's an average of 836. So okay, this week may not be, well, this is only Monday, so whatever. Yeah, I mean, I was coming into the day wanting to be relaxed, wanting to not be too frustrated, taking good setups, and I did that for the majority. I did have some good trades. I didn't do well in Riot, man, and that's because the auto swings order. I was using the 2 points because I was using GME. No excuse. I still should have done better. I gave back too much money over here. This was not a good setup. I was frustrated because I was down from being up. The GME trade, I know it wasn't a good one, and I still took it around here. That was not good. Paid for it. I got lucky with this one, to be honest. And yeah, but green, even though it's small, it's still green. That's still, I mean, April just started. It's just been 2 days. So it's not much, $850 for 2 days. Average daily gain loss. I want this to be at least over $500. So we're gonna work towards that. I'm going a little bit bigger. That can be good. That can be bad. I was keeping my confidence in check. I'm keeping my, because yeah, I was feeding myself too much yesterday. Like I said, this pre-marketing. I'm like, 7 days in a row. I'm doing better. Let me size up, and it's still like, hey, take it back a little bit, because yeah, you made 6,000, 7,000 bucks in the stretch of green, but like I had today, $1,400 loss. In one day, you lose, what's that, like a fifth of what you did, So in the past 6, 7 days or more, it doesn't make sense, So you gotta be careful, stay composed like you've been doing, and yeah, focus on good setups. And yeah, I didn't. It wasn't my best day, man. It wasn't my best day. And I also rushed it around here with this trade. Imagine, I mean, this would have been a great setup if I would have gotten in here for the daily open resistance. I could have really went big in this trade. Um, Instead, I went here and I had to sit through this pullback, which could have ended up pretty badly. And yeah, I mean, just this trade, if I would have taken, yeah, dude, it would have been a very good trade. So I'm gonna try for tomorrow is stay a little bit more focused, and yeah, try to read the market a little bit better. It's choppy, it's a little bit tough, but it's something that we can do. CHPT. I was trying to go short, but no shares to short. This would have been a great setup. This daily open resistance too. Over here again, daily open resistance would have been great. It gets all the way down here, and I didn't have shares to short. That was a shame. Yeah, GME, good one, man, too. I wanted to go short here, but I didn't get the time to do it. I saw this setup. I wanted to go short. Why? Because it broke down. It kind of held around VWAP, but look, this green candle couldn't break the daily open, couldn't break the 9 EMA. I would have been a great short. So yeah, let's try to focus more on that. Try to focus on shorter setups. Setups that make more sense. Tighter stop losses, man, and PLTR are the same thing. I mean, this was a little bit of a small mismanagement, but it's a small mismanagement that cost me over $300. That and the one in Riot cost me over 400. So you had 300 and 400. Now I'm up $1,200 for the day, which is a good day. So yeah, it's important that I I'm feeling again a little bit sick. It's important that I recalibrate a little bit and start doing again, tomorrow best practices. Again, I'm coming in with no expectations. I'm having 8 rain days in a row, so there is bound to be, I mean, I guess someday, a red day, obviously. So I shouldn't get too mad, and if I have one, I shouldn't let it blow up. It shouldn't be one of those cases where I give back a lot of money. So if I have a red day, let it be a small one, and I can just walk away, and that's it. But at the meantime, this is not no self sabotage. I'm gonna keep trading how I'm trading. I'm not trying to defend my position of winning days. I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just trying to execute good trades and follow my best practices. So that is the goal for tomorrow and the rest of the week. Um, so yeah, that's the recap for today. Have a good one.